anything to do with Western big game.
Welcome to the Epic Outdoors podcast, powered by Under Armour.
Hey everybody, Jason Carter, Adam Bronson, the entire Epic Outdoors crew, except for Pollock. He's in Colorado trying to make good on a tough year. It's kind of tough, huh, Devin?
You could say that.
And for guys like me that didn't even have a tag, it was really tough.
That's true.
John, how are you doing?
Doing good. It was nice to have you out there anyway.
Yeah, I was out there a little bit.
Helping us. It was good.
Yeah, here and there. It didn't help you much. Helped Wyatt a little bit.
It was moral support, you know.
Yeah,
it goes a long
Wyatt
way.
made
Moral
me
support,
pack,
some good
Wyatt made
dinners.
me pack more weight than my fair share.
Yes, I did. We've had to pack it all the way uphill, too.
Yeah, it was uphill.
Did you?
Yeah. It's 123 yards.
You know, we don't need to talk about that part.
We didn't even range it.
Top pin.
You could not see the truck from the dead buck.
That's
though.
the truth.
You could not see it.
That's the truth. The roll in the hill was significant.
Hey.
Whatever. All right, so before we get – go ahead, Bronson.
We killed a ram Sunday with a blind in one eye, but don't think less of us. I mean –
Stand
you
up.
You don't feel bad about it?
The ram or the hunter?
I mean, you didn't even have a
the
fair
ram.
chance.
Yeah, I know. That's
I
what.
mean, you guys
but
stalked
hey,
him on the blind side?
I thought he was talking about the hunter.
No,
That's
he
next
wasn't.
level right
He
there.
wasn't.
Did
He
you
wasn't.
stalked him
I'll
on
show
the
you
blind
I'll
side?
show you the kill shot. It was his good eye. He could see everything you wanted to see.
Who does that? Stalks a ram on his blind side.
Did you know he was blind?
No. We didn't know until we got up to him. He was blind. But he's blind. Cloudy. Anyway,
it's funny stuff. Well, I'd have smashed him too. He's kind of a giant. All right. Well, before we get cranking, John, Adam, guys, we want to talk about the optics deal, and I kind of like Freaky Friday instead of Black Friday sale or whatever that is.
Well, we were calling it Black Friday week because it's a full week.
Let's call it a Freaky Week. How about that? So tell us what we got going, John.
So we've got a spectacular deal. We got a bunch of trail cameras for this.
No, we got hundreds and hundreds.
Hundreds, yeah. So every $500 you spend in our optics store, you get a free trail camera. And it's
like $150 trail camera, $160.
$160 MSRP.
This isn't
on
this
that.
isn't a
This isn't a
35
John
millimeter.
Peterson refurbished.
No.
Jason's used
Like,
camera.
No, 32 megapixel.
NIB.
HD video. It's
New
a good
box.
one.
Well, and hey, we've even got some fierce rifles. Why don't we just say, hey, you buy one of those, we'll give you a couple
15.
trail cameras.
Oh, 10.
I don't know.
5. Well, one for every 500.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? So you get
Do
6 cameras.
Yeah.
Or 7.
We
6,
got-
5.
What
4.
calibers do we have from memory? Maybe we should look.
Oh,
real
you
quick.
guys
What
are
we got?
always 6.5 fans.
6.5s.
You guys are always
300
6.5
drums.
fans.
Hey,
There's some.
I think there's a 7. What is it, 7 water?
There's
We
a
got
7 mm
there's
ram mag.
There's a
Ram
300
mag, yeah.
rum,
300 rum. That,
which I've really looked at
that
closely.
thing's been lightly fondled by now, but it's still new.
Come on. We look at it and put it back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
You
the
and Josh.
extent of it.
That's that one,
Jeez.
right? That's a sweet rifle.
I love it.
Couple 6.5 PRCs.
I'm about to tell you right now. Let's do this. Let's do it.
See
We
how
We got
accurate
carbon
we are.
edges. We got twisted rivals.
28
twisted rage.
nozzler. 28 nozzler. 300 drums coming out. Lots of different places.
Twisted rage. Twisted rival.
Carbon
Carbon
edge. Twisted rival.
300
twisted
rum,
rage,
26-inch
Twisted
barrel.
rival.
Twisted sister.
If you want a new gun, want to give a new gun, maybe holiday, Christmas coming up for somebody,
Yeah.
we'll extend that to that too. Optics or fierce rifles in stock.
I like it.
While supplies last, meaning the trail camera supply. We're ready.
On top of
Get on
that,
some-
we're also there's some Freaky Friday, Freaky Week special deals too. On
Yeah.
top of that,
Yeah.
so anyway,
If you're looking, call us from the time you hear this podcast until what, November 30th? That's what it ends, right?
Yep, November 30th. Mentioned we do have a couple extra deals. A couple of those Leica Calinox infrared sights or whatnot. We've got spectacular deals on those on top, and a couple of other Swarovski scopes.
they're pretty unbelievable. I
Yeah.
grabbed one. Quite frankly, like you can hunt wolves with this kind of stuff under the proper permitting up there in Idaho, and I'm like all about it, and then never made it there. But
In theory, it's there.
unbelievable. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Whenever I can do it, and it's an unbelievable system. You can use the current scope you have. You can see the reticles. You can dial, use a turret, all of that. Kind of got to think about range finding, you know. I mean,
in the dark.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there's ways. I've learned. Some guys have taught me some ways, but anyway, it's awesome. It's pretty incredible. And the guys out of Texas, we sell a few of those in Texas.
Predator hunting guys.
Yeah, same thing with Nevada.
And so those Kalanaks, they just go right on the end of your scope.
Yeah, you
correct?
get an adapter, and so whatever scope you have, you can a Swaro, a Zeiss, or Vortex, whatever it is you have, they make an adapter, and you can take it on and off. You can hand hold it, you can put it back on your rifle scope or whatever, and just unbelievable technology. It's rechargeable. It's not got removable batteries or anything like that. And anyway, having said that, we have them in stock as a special, Leica likes to call it the Black Friday deal, Freaky Week, whatever. Call us up, we've got it. So amongst other
plus
things,
awesome, great member pricing. Just plus the trail cameras for every 500.
Jeez.
You might want to. Yeah, you need
Logan,
a new
do
spot.
you need to spend $3,000 to get 5-6 cameras?
I need to start spending something.
Yeah, you do. How are we going to get some of Logan's money out of his pocket? Hey, we could even withhold some wages and put it toward
optics.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Well, once I pay tuition in January, I might be spending some money here, so keep
Wait,
that deal.
don't
going,
avoid the
too.
question. Do you have a girlfriend?
He's breezed on by that.
Does she care?
That's
I
saying
don't know if I
we.
can
saying a
talk
lot.
about this on the record.
He's like,
Oh, he's not committal.
he hasn't had the determine the relationship talk yet. That's what that means.
The old
That's
DTR.
what that
The
means.
DTR, Wyatt.
Maybe he
Devin's
wants to be
locked in.
committed. She doesn't.
We've been
or
through many
vice
of those
versa.
in our past, but
Do you
that's
guys-
what that answer
we
was.
don't talk about
Wyatt,
that.
Devin, do you guys have any suggestions
If we
or
got-
advice for Logan?
If we get going on relationship talk with these guys, we would do a week-long podcast with these two.
Because they're the specialists. They've had many relationships. Is that what you're saying? They know what
Well, they did it for a long
they're
time.
doing. Is the video on these guys?
Let's go back to Logan.
Yeah, that's all we're saying.
I'll tell you what. Once a week, you guys can come up with a piece of advice, and I'll listen to one piece of advice from you every week.
Well, just question: have you had the DTR?
No.
Okay, that answers your
why.
What's
question.
That's
DTR again?
Define the relationship.
Oh.
Monumental moment.
It is.
Yeah.
The M&Ms.
I'm just glad to be deep in marriage, and the worst thing we're talking about is my participation at the house.
What? Do you have to make the gravy for Thanksgiving or not?
Yeah,
That's
no,
the deepest
that's
stuff.
not even.
It's not
that's
even.
not even been on the docket of discussions. No, I'm not sure. I'm sure we're gonna have a discussion now because she's gonna listen. So
Well, you're capable and able.
yeah,
It's just a matter if you're willing. But
I'm trying to.
get that.
I'm trying to
the
be
electric
dad of the
knife
year and take the kids looking at deer or calling coyotes.
while Jetta does all of the dinner.
Well, no, she's got to make.
I'm gonna
candy
take care of
too.
the kids this morning.
She's got to make candy too.
I'm gonna take care of the kids.
They got candy making.
Oh, Christmas,
weekend.
because it's Christmas candy, probably.
They don't want me around when they're making candy.
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of the kids. Well, Jason's kids are like 23, 20, and
Hey.
18 and 16
Hey.
or something. Like they drive him
Bronson,
around
you-
while he sleeps in the back seat.
Okay. Bronson, you have old kids.
I know,
Do
but
you ever cease being a parent?
No, you
In
don't.
fact, it probably even gets a little more aggressive before it gets easier.
yeah, because
I thought once
Big
you kick them
kids
out of the house, you
means-
kick them out of the house. No. No.
hey, you just got one married off, though.
Yeah.
Hey, you're thinning out the herd, aren't you?
I could tell you one of a story that we're going through at my house right now, but I'd probably be fired.
Fired by
Maybe
who?
by the end of the
Fired is what?
podcast. Oh, Jana, she'd have me.
Okay, well,
Justin, he'd have me.
all right, let's don't
It
go
is
there.
interesting, though. He's
It doesn't have to
quite an
do-
artist and made a T-shirt, and it was somewhat questionable. And that T-shirt got found, and it's been a sore subject for both parties.
In high school graphic arts class or
Hey,
something,
and there was copies made and distributed.
and distribution.
Yeah.
And there's sales.
Yeah,
There's cash sales.
yeah.
Entrepreneur.
It affected some people.
You mean you got cease and desist letters?
Pretty much.
It resembles too many other T-shirt.
Hey,
These-
all I know is parental. The parents are heavily engaged at this point.
Wow.
Hey,
Okay.
hey.
All
The minute you think you're free sailing, you're not. Well, let's say we talked about the optics, and we want to sell some optics. Of course, we're smoking them out. Christmas is coming up and whatnot. Of course, Thanksgiving, it's awesome. We're actually in the office at the moment. We do have a few other little lingering things going on. Mostly, I just want to watch Bucks rut.
That's not an obligatory appointment anywhere.
I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, thought we'd have
We're
that.
here for the most part, is what you're saying.
We're here for the most part.
Mostly back and better than ever.
So before we get cranking on some of these Colorado deer stories, some of which are great, some of which are not so great. Bronson, you did great. Wyatt, the end result was good. It's kind of fun, a great experience. But I'm wondering if we should call Jeff and kind of hear about this bull he killed up in northern Nevada. He got a late season tag. And, late season tags are a challenge a little bit. Of course, we all know that. You're dealing with broken bulls and non-rutting, but lots of glassing and a lot of hand warmers.
Nevada late season, it's a cold freaking place, man. That dry air
negative
desert.
10 to positive 10, but not much above it.
No.
Oh,
Huh?
No.
Devin?
I have some bad memories of that.
I know.
Anyway.
For being one of the hottest states in the nation in the summer, it's one of the coldest in later in the winter. It is cold.
I remember wearing a full body Carhartt insulated
Overall.
That's what I wore because that's the only thing that kept me alive.
Was it the same color as a blonde bull?
It was tan.
That's what I mean.
Dark tan.
You got to wear orange.
School bus over there.
You don't have to wear
I had a
orange
yellow
in Nevada,
though. That's all I had.
More like a cow color, not really a bull color.
You
On a yellow four-wheeler.
You don't have to wear orange over there, but if you wear that, you might want to throw some on.
You're going to be looked at through a rifle scope. So if one of us gets a first come first serve tag, you guys saying you're not going to help the other guy?
Where? We're
Well,
still
let's just
playing
say,
that game?
I don't
Who's
know.
playing
Heck
that
no.
And Wyatt plays it.
I feel like it's done for the most part.
game? Wyatt knows when the doe tags are still available.
Wyatt
Cow,
knows.
something.
If there's
I did point something out
if there's
for
a
Wyatt
snowcock
yesterday.
tag coming out, Wyatt knows about it.
Snowcock in the winter. I heard the plumage is off the charts in January.
I don't know anything about the
If a snowcock came up, would you take it though on that
I
list?
don't even know if there's permits for them. I just think you got to go.
Don't you
go
just
do
buy
it,
one?
Don't you? I think you
Yeah.
just go do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's a special permit or what it is, but
The Himalayan snowcock
has
and
not
the
been on the first come first serve
rubies.
list that I've
Hey,
seen.
It's one of the secret special species in Nevada.
the hidden gems of Nevada.
All right. Well, let's just call Jeff and see what he has to say. I know he had a pretty good time, but he also so Jeff's wife and my wife are sisters, and I know he wore Angie out. Went to
Just
the very
because
last
he was
minute.
being gone a lot.
Well, Jeff can get lost over there.
You mean not check in?
I don't know. I don't really want to go there.
I talked to him before the hunt, and I was talking to him about it, and he's like, I think I'm going to go in the morning. I'm like, well, you just told me you had a deer hunter coming in tomorrow. He's like, yeah, but I can get out there.
I
just
love
for
his
like
positive.
2 hours. And
He burns up the highway.
yeah.
I love his positive attitude. So anyway, and bless Angie for dealing with him. All right, here we go. Have you decided how much a divorce is going to cost you for hunting so much?
Ooh, I don't think the attorney quite got there. It was getting close, though.
Oh, you settled? You settled?
Settled out of court.
Good boy, Jeff. Good boy.
Oh, man.
Do you still have your gun?
It gets stressful by the end of the season, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. I know everything you're talking about.
Well, yeah.
Really?
Adam started on sheep hunts, and caribou hunts in August.
Sure.
At least I
July,
made it.
wasn't
No
it?
archery hunts this year. I did not have anything in August.
You know what I feel bad about is Jan and I's relationship is the subject of many people's marital discussions.
Is it?
Yeah.
They're like, count your
I've
many
got
blessings.
friends that wives go,
No, trust me. Yeah, same thing.
I'm sorry, I'm not like Jana, but you need to come home. And little do they know, it's taken years to get to this point.
Well, they walk up to you in the street, and you're like, how do you let him get away with being
Oh,
gone
yeah.
so much, Becky?
yeah.
You're like, shut up and get out of here.
Why are you trying to ruin my marriage?
These are real stories. Like I've always been able to say, always, forever. I'm at least. I always tell my wife, well, at least it's not your sister's situation. like I don't hunt like Jason hunts. I don't hunt like
See,
Jason hunts.
why me? Why do I have to? Because
Sorry, you said the bed part.
you guys think that those discussions don't happen at my house, and that only amplifies things. I have to get it back to where we can live with each other again. Oh, she's a good one. That's no question. They
Well,
should
you
be comparing
dedicated a lot
themselves
to
to
her
Jana.
hunt
Huh?
this year.
Oh,
You
yeah.
dedicated a lot to her hunt this year.
17 days hunting.
Actual hunting.
Mama with kids, chicks still in the nest. Jeez, that was brutal.
Good man.
Plus scouting, huh? Yeah, it was over
Good
a month
man.
and a half probably. All right, Jeff. Well, let's talk about you. I don't want to talk about me because I'm going to get in trouble if I keep talking.
There you go.
So,
Man, it is the year of the point burn, isn't it?
oh yeah.
Like I thought about it, and realistically, I think I'm at 42 points that I burned this year altogether.
Wow,
You
that's
add 'em-
impressive.
You add them up.
Yeah. Like if you add up all the points that I burned on everything this year, I think I was at 42. And I'm like,
what do you
kinda
got to
makes
show
me
for
sick
it?
a little bit.
Yeah,
I got one bullet. One.
Why do you think of it that way?
Well,
Jeez, that's
I don't
brutal.
know. Yeah, it is. Like Jason, how many points?
I don't
want to.
I'm not going to. No, this
points
isn't.
deep are you?
I'm not going to talk about what we burned. One tag was 24 points. Jeez, pretty soon you're at 42 really fast.
Really fast. Yep. Yeah, I
Oh.
burned Angie's 20 points. I burnt my wife's 20 points this year. It was intense. So on her
Okay,
elk
and that was
tag,
an elk
we have
tag.
nothing to show for it.
Well, I guess let's talk about that before your elk tag. So she ended up basically going to kind of, I don't know, donate it to a kid, whatever. I mean, she has to go with them,
Yes.
obviously, and either one of them could kill. It's kind of a unique situation here in Utah that you can do.
Well, and it was kind of a, you're trying not to manipulate the system too much in any kind of weird ways, but you're trying to get the most out of them. So my boy had 2 points, my wife had 20 points. I team them together. They draw together. Okay, this is my younger boy.
This was planned, though, Jeff.
This was planned,
and that's
yes.
where Father of the Year comes in, right there.
Yeah, well, yeah, this part of it. And so you burn 22 points right there, right? And you get them, and then you take the wife's tag, and you mentor
it.
that tag with my 17 barely, June 19th birthday, turns 18, have to hurry up and get we pull it
Which
off. by a day.
I didn't think you were going
was
to
a
pull that
miracle.
one off. I didn't.
I
think
didn't.
You were gonna pull that
I
off.
was getting stressed because Utah's just lackadaisical about getting those tags printed, but they actually have to just push the button, print, before the tag number is assigned. But you got to have the tag number to mentor it to the kid, right?
Okay.
So you're just waiting on somebody somewhere at some company to push the print button
to
and
be
it
able to
assigns the
mentor it
tag
in
number.
time where your kid is still of age.
Still 17.
And you
Yep.
did that and had 1 day to spare.
Yep, 1 day to spare.
Then the other kid drew. Right?
The other kid drew. Yeah, so he
you had
had it.
2
So
elk
in other
tags.
words, I got both my boys. My boys had elk tags,
All right.
but there's still a lot of complications, and I got one kid playing football and the other kid
How
in
about
school.
how about
business?
How about I need a couple of muzzleloaders?
Yeah, there needed a couple muzzlers. So I got,
And they
dude,
need
I
to be
got some-
twins.
Different
They
loads
need to be
for each
twins.
one.
Oh, and he did the same load.
Pellets
bought-
for one, loose powder
And then
in
he
the
called
other.
us and
Oh,
got the
no,
same
no.
scopes and this and
Yep.
that, right?
Everything, yes.
I was
built,
always
we
taught
built
that-
these muzzle loaders perfectly identical.
Yeah.
The only difference that you can tell between the two is the one I put a black muzzle brake on, the other one I put a matching muzzle brake on. That's the only way you can tell.
And they shot
The
good
difference.
until they didn't, right? They shot good until they didn't.
Well, when you're trying to put a
it's
cookie
one of-
cutter load in both, just one size
But I
fits
think-
all. I've heard you can't do that with
It
muzzleloaders.
worked for him for a bit.
It
Well,
works. It
for-
works good.
You can hit a pie plate at 48 yards.
Hey,
Yes.
it worked until it didn't. Go ahead, Jeff.
It worked until it didn't. Yeah, so I don't know if we want to rip off all the scabs.
What do you
today,
mean?
But
We're already there.
here I am. We're 2 days into the hunt. We're bouncing around in the side by side. We pull the scope out, and I heard something funny. Now, I think you guys even talked about this last
Oh yeah, I talked about a
Last
sheep hunt that
episode.
we're loading
Yes.
in the dark, loading our backpacks to pack in. This is not
Bronson
like
grabs the dude's gun.
I
and
grabbed the
grabs
gun.
scope.
Somehow I don't grab
That's
the
what I
scope.
did.
I grabbed it and it moved, and I'm like, did that really move? I moved again. I said, we're done. We're not taking this thing. And we always bring another gun on our
Yes.
hunts in case you fall in the middle of a hunt or you fall coming off the mountain in the dark one night. You don't have time to shoot it for the next day. But yeah. Anyway, continue your
So-
story.
That's what I did. So, in other words, I bought these guns. This straight from CVA. They came. They had the scope rails mounted on them. I thought, sweet. I've actually stripped out a barrel before, not being careful, just over torquing. And so I'm just like, hey, these are factory mounted. Leave them. you know, and then since I've talked to Devin, he's like, oh no, you tear those things off and you do it right, did it, and I should have. Anyway, 2 days in, pull out the scope, and I hear a little jiggle. Like and I'm like, what was that? And my kid's like, I think my scope's loose. Sure enough, man, that sucker is loose. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So here we are in the middle of the hunt. Take the gun, tear it all down, like put it all back together. And then we had the matching one. And I'm like, nope, tear it all down, put that one back together. Like, anyway, it cost us, you know, it probably cost, because it took me a day to, you know, get off the mountain, go get things sorted out. You had to shift one kid here and wife here and everything. And anyway, it probably cost us a bull, to be honest with you, because, you know, we're down to one gun, we lose a kid for a day, all that. Just, you know, everything that you don't want to happen in the middle of the hunt, you know, of course, is going to happen in the middle of the hunt. And so anyway, but got both
I'm
of them
getting,
shooting by
and
the end.
Angie and Jenna are talking a little bit between the trips back and forth.
Oh, dude, it's
Somewhat stressful in your relationship, from what I heard. I don't know what you heard.
well, no, it was stressful. It was stressful. You know,
Well,
you're like,
and here's the
whole
thing
time in
about
back of
these-
your mind, like, I'm dragging my wife up the mountain.
That's what I
I'm
mean.
dragging
Well, you
her
got
all-
to legally.
These mentor hunts
The
in
mentor,
Utah,
like-
they have to be there
Yeah.
They have
on the
to be
hunt.
there.
They have to be
Yeah.
there, and it sounds good. It's going to be quality family time.
And
when you
really,
draw
you
the
could have
tag,
had three
quality
muzzlers.
family time.
Really, you could have had three muzzlers. She could have been packing.
Yeah,
And he's
you
packing.
could have
Yes.
3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and so it sounds really good until your wife's sitting on a mountain just with your son while you're down fixing scopes, and she's up there just hanging out with.
She's trying to fill
In-laws,
judge a bull.
Father-in-law, and, you know, whoever else.
You're
is with you.
you're scared that you're going to hear a shot in that direction because who knows
Oh, man.
what she's like.
Good thing
all
we
right,
married tough women.
Cutler,
Oh,
shoot the
yes.
bull now. We're done. We're done tonight. Shoot that bull now.
There's just a lot to it. Luckily, my dad was there and was able to kind of keep things sorted out. And like, well, I'm trying to fix stuff, put stuff together, ship kids here and there, try to keep life salvaged. And anyway,
What did you
But-
stay in? What were you lodged in?
oh, dude, we were my. so,
It's an easy
so
question.
Jeff, it's very simple. What were you
When
staying in?
when my wife wasn't there, we just stay in the camp trailer. But there's a couple issues with the camp trailer. We've had, you know,
Mice?
a few issues. You know, so we drove when she was there. We were driving to freaking an hour and a half to town to stay in a hotel.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. Well, we got to
So-
take care of Mama.
3 hours drive time in summer hours.
Oh,
There's no dark. It's all light.
So, yeah, and it was a grind. Lots of early mornings. Luckily, she was a trooper. She pulled through. Like she actually did better than I thought. I think she saved the complaints, hopefully, for her sister. And
I
not
didn't
for
hear
me.
a lot of.
She
I
did
didn't
good.
hear. I didn't hear a lot of that, but it was
It was a
possible
grind,
that
dude.
it was possible that you might have been home and then going to be headed back down, and there was a little, anxiety.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There, and she pulled through, like, not many complaints, and so anyway. But okay, so we go through and we burnt the tags. We had a couple opportunities at smaller bulls, but when these kids see these big, like, good animals, like they're not like me when I was a kid. I was just throwing lead at stuff. Like I just
No, these
I
kids
just
are
put
looking
stuff
for
on the
eye
ground.
guards and brow tines and stuff.
Yeah,
well, it's
they're
got a
like-
broke G1. That's all
He's
right.
got
We
he's
see
got
this-
short
we see this
beams.
300-inch bull, and my kid's looking at it like, I ain't gonna shoot that piece of crap. And
He
I'm
looks
like,
spindly. He looks a little spindly,
Dude.
Dad. I think we're going to look around for a minute.
I know, and 140 yards standing there broadside, and it's like, I don't know, but I mean, I'm fine with it. They're picky. They're proud of what they kill when they kill it. So I guess we just roll on. But
Wait for another 22 points to come around.
wait.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be
And,
your
you know,
grandkid. The next mentor program be a grandkid.
Next
Yeah.
elk meat you taste will be from the grandkid.
But you know, like I get it. I do it myself sometimes, and you know, and that leads us to the next hunt. you
Yeah,
know,
Jeff.
and-
There's nobody like you that can pass stuff and wait till the very end. Your sheep here in Utah. I mean, I don't know. It's impressive how long you can go.
Well, and so, you know, that's always in the back of your mind because I've got some, I mean, even 2012 till now is still too fresh on some of these scabs. I swear, those wounds are still hurting, man.
From who? From Angie or
No,
or you.
from certain tags I drew and then in
Oh,
kill.
Henry's?
You know. Yeah.
Jason,
I don't know.
he's going to need
We're
a
just gonna
transfusion
pull it
here
off.
pretty
That's
quick.
fine.
I'm
Bandage
just
off.
throwing some stuff
Still
out there. I
bleeding.
don't know where he's going with it. Trying to be a good host.
There you go. So you know, like, so we come to the next elk hunt, which was, you know, Nevada, and I'm telling you, I guess I got to think about it this way. You got a lot of people listening. Nevada sucks. Nobody wants to ever draw there. It's horrible. Don't go.
It's cold. It's cold.
Now that that's out of the way, that hunt, Nevada is freaking awesome.
Amazing.
Like,
jeez.
just there's not many people. Like scouting, there's nobody. Like you're driving around for a day. And
No,
you don't
if
see
you-
a
You better
soul.
have supplies.
If you don't
in your
have
truck.
some major plugs for the tires that Devin goes through, I mean, who's gonna come get you? Devin, if you're not self-sufficient, you're not
You're in
gonna.
Oh.
trouble, man. But
I
that's part of why I like it out there too.
Yeah, you can always
Yeah.
rely on a rancher.
And
to
if you
grab
do
your
see
ramp here
somebody,
and
they're
there.
nice to you, right, Jeff? For the most
Yeah.
part, yeah.
They are. You know, people weren't too bad. I liked the ranchers. Like they were pretty good to me.
There's some people though that are running from things that are out there.
Especially,
Oh, you don't go knock on the wrong door. That's for sure. I mean,
Okay, well, anyway. So anyway.
like there's plenty of people that you probably there's a reason why they live out in the middle of nowhere by themselves with nobody around them. Like there's probably a good reason for that. You probably don't. They probably don't want to talk to you.
No.
But anyway, no, it was awesome. There's lots of critters. Like
So you had an
lots
elk
of-
tag, late season elk tag. You're
Late
scouting.
season,
You're
rifle,
you're
elk
sending
tag.
some bulls our way here and there, getting people's opinion. Devin's helping you with
Yes.
a few areas. I mean, anyway.
Devin loaded me up. It was awesome. Like yes, I did pick on you guys a little bit
That's
because you know
good. Yeah.
the problem is when you start to look at lots of animals and you're like you start going blind a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
you're like, what is this thing really like? Like look at this with me and make sure my brain's working right. And,
Got to
you
get your
know,
membership dues worth. You know, that's
yeah,
what we're
there
here
you
for.
go. There you go.
You got $100 out of Devin right there. 150
right
bucks.
there. I got plenty out of both of you. But anyway, it was fun, man. Lots of bulls. There's a reason why you apply and build points in these states because you know sometimes you luck out. And I'll tell you, I mean, I don't know what the draw odds. I think I had less than 5% draw odds, even with 16 points. There's just no there's a reason why you build and build and build and build and then get lucky and go. And once again, comes back to your guys' theory on points and states. It's nice to have a variety. It's nice, you know, where you can get lucky and all that because it's a fun hunt. Lots of bulls, lots of broken bulls. I mean, I probably sent you guys a few pictures of them, you know, like bulls with busted main beams that, you know, one side's going to be a 365 bull. The other side is snapped off halfway up the main beam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff like that, you know.
You
And
just don't
we
want to
can't-
shoot a spike by 6 if you can help it. But
No, you know, so you got to be somewhat picky.
Yeah.
So we ground through it and looked at a lot of, I mean, had a couple guys come help me out, you know, looked through
Yeah.
a lot of bulls,
Yeah.
you know, 15 to 30 bulls a day. And, you know, a lot of them new bulls every day
Jeez,
in
that's
different
a lot
areas.
of game. It's a lot of game.
You just, it's hard to believe that you're really looking at that many new critters every day. But it was fantastic, you know. And then I found myself truly doing what I did in 2012, where you see a lot of animals and you just haven't seen that perfect one. and I find myself just picking every animal apart. Oh man, all these bulls got weak backs. I can't find a bull with weak backs. Then you find one with good backs, and you're like, oh, that bull's got 10-inch fronts. I mean, what the heck, And then you're just picking every animal apart. It just gets there where you're just kind of, and eventually you got to make a decision and pull a trigger because
why, Jeff? Because why? There was like why did the hunt have to come to an end?
Because it was time for the hunt to come to the end. That's all I'm going to say. When the retainer's been paid, what's next? You're like,
they're going to start making draws on that retainer.
Yes, they're going to start making their money. So
at some point they spend more than the retainer. So
yep. And so it was like, hey, I went home. I grabbed my kid. I'd seen this bull a couple times. I grabbed my kid,
and it was as good a bull, really. He was put together.
It's just the bull. Yes. Awesome bull. But you wanted to hunt a while too. To turned up something really exceptional.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're getting down to it. I mean, there was a few days left of the hunt, so there was still plenty of hunting I could have done. But I mean, when it's the best bull you've seen, like really, it's the best bull you've seen. You probably ought to kill it.
Yep. That's right.
So and it worked out. Killed him, and he was a little bit bigger once we got on the ground than I thought he was, probably. So even better news.
That's awesome.
It just worked out great. Fun hunt.
And Kaysen was with you? Was it Kaysen that was with you? Yeah.
Yep. I grabbed Kaysen because I had to have,
your oldest.
It's nice to have a spotter.
What do you a spotter? He was a packer. Come on, Jeff.
I mean,
you're going to kill an elk.
Similar to my job with Wyatt.
There you go.
You're going there to kill an elk, and I don't want to be alone.
We're trying not to swear on this podcast, but I was the pack.
Mule.
Back mule.
It's no fun to carry out a deer by yourself. It's nice to have one other guy to support.
That's right.
It's good. But no, it was super fun, man. That hunt's a good hunt.
That's awesome.
I highly recommend.
Well,
love it.
Hard to have many bad elk hunts in Nevada. There's a couple fringe ones, but 90% plus of them are legitimate elk hunts. They're pretty conservative on elk tags overall in Nevada. That's why you get one or maybe two in a life is it.
Yeah.
But
it's like they say, they like to produce a quality product.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they look at it as a product,
Yeah.
Awesome. Doing a great job. So, Jeff,
what do you how much of Thanksgiving dinner do you have to prepare this year? Is there any
Dude, really, nobody wants to eat what I'm cooking.
Oh.
Like for Thanksgiving dinner, I don't mind cooking out if we're camping or
What do
something
you mean?
like that.
Yeah, we've had you in camp. You're freaking awesome. I mean, I don't know if you have a food handler's permit, but I'd pay
you
you
can put on a hairnet and wash your hands anytime.
Yeah, come on down.
You've never eaten a pie that I've made. I guarantee you that, and you won't.
Well,
I'm not much used.
Those
to the
are
kitchen
easier
when it
to
comes
buy.
Pastries and things, yes.
But
yeah,
pastry and a Coke.
You give me a Dutch oven and a camp chef, and we're gonna eat. We're probably gonna eat pretty good. But
so, what are your Thanksgiving obligations as a husband and father? We're just kind of wondering what people's jobs are. I'm going to talk to Wyatt about his jobs and Devin.
I'm going to highly suggest this. I didn't necessarily plan this out perfectly, but it worked out perfectly. So we got a little trip planned here in another week. We're going to Hawaii.
Oh,
and
Mama's.
My anniversary was in August, and we went to Florida. And I'm like, I get to envelope this hunting season between these two perfect vacations.
Okay.
I'm hoping erases everything in between,
Oh,
right? I'm hoping it becomes a void between
Jeff,
point A and point B.
What you're doing right is
Don't
you're
they say
ending.
elephants have good memories or something like that? They have nothing on women.
Yeah. No. But you're doing it right. The last thing of the year is not one of your hunts. It's taking her to Hawaii. So that's the right way.
It doesn't hurt.
That taste will linger for hopefully the rest of the winter until you want to go turkey and bear hunt next spring.
Yeah, and every time she brings up hunting, I'm going to bring up Hawaii. That's what I'm doing. So
well, that's awesome.
It should be good. But yeah, what else you got on the docket today?
That's what we were wondering about your 2023 application and hunting plans. You got anything fun you're kind of thinking about for next year?
I've kind of hit you up about the one Utah hunt, and I'm just kind of wondering what that's going to turn into. I've bugged you a little bit, and anyway,
I can't even remember. No,
it's kind of a weird October 1st day, like elk tag.
Oh,
well.
Anyway,
assuming some of these new changes get passed. I don't know. I'm not tracking what you're keeping tracking.
Yeah.
Keep tracking.
But we'll see. We'll see. I might go elk hunting again. I might burn my points.
Oh,
So,
all right.
I don't know. We're debating.
We have talked. Well,
We're debating on it,
A
so
lot of
plan's
potential
gonna-
changes here in Utah for next year's season structure
We'll
on
know
elk.
here
A
shortly.
lot of options.
Yeah.
Lots of potential options. So
yeah, I'm a little worried about it. So
might be time to use them. Yeah.
burn them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah.
What have you heard on Wyoming? Are we going to stick with our current allocations for deer, elk?
Yeah, for this year at least.
Imagine
That's
for
not
this year.
not going to end
Yep.
though. That talk's going to.
Talks are going to continue.
It's always gonna
I think the
talk,
outfitter
but-
tags and things like that are up for major discussion.
But I think
Nothing.
or just percentage, percentage cuts. But I'd use them, especially if they're having
Right.
mild winters for
But
deer and
Jeff, we don't
antelope.
want to talk about Wyoming elk yet. We've already we're fielding some calls, and man, I don't know between Colorado deer and Wyoming elk. I'm not sure how many. I mean, very close to
Idaho General stuff going on right now too.
Yeah, Jeff, are you
Getting
going
a lot of
to
that.
December 1st come
December
around?
1st,
Are you
dude?
are you going to
Oh,
be
my gosh,
getting your
I don't even
general
want to
tag?
think about it. I think I'm going to be in Hawaii. Maybe I don't know. That'll
Sure.
be interesting.
They have
I have to
internet
check
down
the
there.
internet connection.
Yeah, they have internet down there. So Wyatt, let's talk about Well, anyway, I don't want to. I got to deal with Wyatt every single day, so I don't want
Hey,
to say
Wyatt will
anything
be
too
on
much.
it. I
but
promise you, Wyatt will be on it.
I'm
So,
just wondering
you know.
if his wife is as supportive of his internet addiction to getting turnback tags as he is.
You know, we should all just make a plan to blow up Wyatt's phone at 11:59 ish, and just keep ringing through. Make sure he's got some distractions, so he's not too quick on the draw.
You can't beat Wyatt.
No.
He's good at
He'll
what he
be on it.
does. I'm not going to lie. He's good at what he does. Okay.
Heck yeah.
All right. Well, sounds good,
Okay,
Jeff.
guys.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good. Well,
Pretty good.
good luck with that retainer. You might want to throw a few more bucks at it right here.
There you go.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Catch you
All
later.
right, yeah, bye. Oh boy. Well,
I like the technique. We call it the Jeff John technique. You
What?
sandwich your hunts in between two vacations for your wife.
jeez. They're significant vacations.
Could get expensive.
They said the
but-
Florida vacation was unbelievable.
Really?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So
Well, I sent my wife and daughters to Florida last spring. Without me. That's what I do.
So is that good or bad? It'd really be
They
nice
loved
if
it.
Dad was here and really
Well, they
spent
they
family time.
They say that, but they still had a great time.
But they enjoyed your credit card.
well,
That's the Bronson technique.
That was-
Easier than
send them
going.
without you.
yeah, it was to mainly Disney World, so it was like, yeah, go tell me how that is. Just tell me. I'll believe you when you come home.
Seems like
I'll tell you.
some foreign vacations too, without you.
Oh yeah, there was France. Sorry, John. But
I don't have any.
I don't have any desire
either.
to go to Europe.
I don't.
Not one.
I don't want to leave the states.
No. So I just
I really don't want to leave the
I
state.
sent my mom with my wife and daughters to that one.
Such a good
Good
guy.
memory, Jason.
Such a good guy.
Well, hey, they're making memories, right? But
Some of my memories, people aren't so glad I remember, but whatever.
My
Well, I
wife-
guess. What? Should we talk about you?
I just say my wife, she brings up a trip, and I just convince her that'd be much better off as a girls' trip. Just like, hey, you girls that head down there, that'd be fun.
But Wyatt
Yeah.
does a lot.
I'd hate-
He does a lot of concerts and smiling and waving.
I would hate to get in the way of your fun with the girls, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like I'm a burden. Let her go do her thing.
No, you want to go, on an Alaska cruise for your birthday? I'm in. We did
Hey,
that.
I'm going to be doing that hopefully.
But
at some
she
point.
picked that one literally. I had no involvement. That's what her and her
No,
twin
and I think
sister
you were
picked.
trying to sell some optics to some people looking at
Oh.
mountain goats.
Oh, we did. Yeah. We were on the
Anyway.
top deck freaking glassing goats. It was
And-
awesome.
NL Pures.
Yeah. Well, and then that was another trip. Yeah. We were looking at stuff on land another time and phone scoping, plug out to phone scope. If it didn't phone scope, it didn't happen. But yeah, we were phone scoping goats and bears up there, and we had tourists coming by. Just were blown away that, because all they got to watch is your phone on the back. They don't even need to get down and look through your scope.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Could have made some cells there
Set up
Yeah.
a kiosk.
out of the back of my
Except for you
U-Haul.
got to talk to more people.
Huh?
I hate talking to people.
Well, Yeah, but if they want to give you
Especially
money.
the foreigners that don't know how to speak English, would be
Yeah.
like,
They spoke English, but they
he's
were.
very nice, Mr. Bronson is very nice.
Well, they,
like, okay.
can I buy them?
Go
Yeah,
buy-
you need $5,000 to buy this
and they'd
setup.
be like, oh, that's all here. I mean,
Maybe
these people make real money, Bronson.
some of them, but most people, if you don't have a
Hunter
Swarovski
Hunter
95.
Biden's kept them well. All right,
Right.
keep, well,
Anyway,
go ahead.
well, we'll just finish plug out for Phone Scope, but it was awesome. It was great, and good Christmas idea too coming up for somebody. If you're getting a new iPhone, it's somebody in your family or a new whatever phone. I shouldn't just
Hey, Wyatt
be,
loves the iPhone.
Shouldn't just be Apple, plugging because Apple doesn't pay any
be
of our
Android.
bills here, but
Could be
we'll call
Android.
But hey, get them a new Phone Scope. Check them out at phonescope.com. PhoneScope.com. Phonescope.com.
And they do have the iPhone 14 cases.
I need a new phone.
Yeah,
I
do too.
I'm sick of mine.
Yeah, it's just time.
I'm
Mine's
Maybe
a 10.
Maybe
Mine's
we
a 10.
all go Android this time.
Come
It's not a
on,
bad
what?
idea.
Let's just start the new group message.
Come
all
on.
go Android this
It's
time.
not a bad idea.
Not gonna
You
happen.
guys.
I don't think the government in China can dive into Android as easy, right? Supposedly.
It's
No.
way easier.
What have you? What
What?
deep dark
It's way
websites?
Logan, tell me.
It's way easier to get into an Android phone than it is an Apple phone.
It is.
Oh, 100%.
Tell
How
us
do
a
you
little
know?
bit. He knows everything. I got a new. Hey,
Jason, what
I
deep
love
dark
Logan.
places on
He-
the internet
I
do you
needed
play?
a new computer, and guess what? Because of Logan, I got a gamer's computer. Okay, I don't game. But he's like, dude, the fan is beefy. I can understand that. I can picture the fan being
It just
beefy.
keeps it cool and calm and
What other
collected.
good things about gaming computers?
It's just made to be worked on. Like the keyboards are so much more durable, and I've heard you type before clopping away, so you need
Come
a durable keyboard.
on.
We're going to
You
come in
have
one
not
morning
heard
and
me.
he's going to be playing like Zelda or Warcraft or something.
They got
I
some
think there's
really
new games.
good.
I think those are our age games, but there's
Game-
new ones now.
Something like that.
They got some really
Gamers would
cool
be
hunting
jealous
video
of my
games.
gamers would be jealous of my computer, and all I
It's
do
true.
is build a magazine off it. But anyway,
When I sent the link to John, I did put 2 in the cart. He caught it and reduced it to 1, so I didn't get a new laptop.
there's no wonder these lights and remote controls. So anyway, Logan, tell us real quick about iPhone versus Android. I want to know this stuff real quick. How do you
Well-
know it's way easier? What do you know?
Apple has basically an unbreachable firewall in their system. Not even Apple people can get into your Apple phone without your password and stuff.
Which is why cops and people struggle.
Right?
getting
If you
into an
remember
iPhone.
that big case a few
Jason?
years ago when they wanted information off of somebody who committed a crime, their phone, and Steve Jobs said if I gave you that information, I'd have to basically build a virus that could crack the Apple's firewall, and I'm not going to do that. Android is an open source system, so you can put whatever you want on an Android phone.
Jason, I have a question for you. Where do you hang out in the dark hours at night and hear this rumors of phones and tracing and hacking into phones? Where do
know
you
it
hang
happens.
out?
It happens.
Well, no, you've talked
the
about things
Fox
you've heard
News,
about.
Have you ever watched? I mean, have you ever looked at Newsmax
But
on
don't.
Instagram?
But then if you
No,
if
I
you
don't.
have
and everything
No.
I see on Instagram is true.
if you have an iPhone and then you get TikTok and have that, it doesn't matter anyways, right? Because
I don't
you're
have
just
TikTok.
giving them. I
It
know, but I'm
cancels
saying
out.
if you did,
Yeah.
it cancels it all out. You're letting everybody.
Wyatt has
Yeah, that's
TikTok.
fair.
Have you seen
I
some of
do
his
not
dancing
have a
videos?
TikTok.
Come on.
What's your name on there?
I have no TikTok and no desire to ever even look at a TikTok.
I hate to break it to you. Epic Outdoors has quite the presence on TikTok, so you're all on TikTok.
Thanks, Logan.
You're welcome.
So China can hack into Epic.
Well, I don't know about that. It's on my phone, so
We
I'm
some
the only one that's toast.
Steve Jobs saving us.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I love it. Okay, sounds good. Well, we got that out of the way.
Okay.
Let's dive into Colorado. Huh?
Yeah.
Everybody's over
Finish.
there. People were over there. People are now finishing up fourth season, getting ready to start tomorrow. Today is Tuesday. Starts on Wednesday, goes through Sunday.
Been a cold year, not just in cold. Man, it's been cold.
It was
We've had weather, but we've also just had cold
And it kind
weather.
of started off with a bang. Like it seemed like second season there was
Oh
some
yeah, they had some
pretty
good storms.
decent bucks taken, considering not a ton.
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah,
But-
they did. They got off to a good start. It was the end of October. Our open to the general deer hunt was brutally cold and snowy. Remember here in Utah,
Yeah.
yes.
hit Colorado, and it really hasn't warmed up since. I mean, it's been cold.
I'd say it was almost perfect mule deer hunting weather over there. I mean, it was just cold. Those deer were on their feet all day, moving around. It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I thought what was fun was we didn't have to leave the truck wide if we didn't need to.
No, we did not. John had a similar experience
Wyatt
too.
didn't point you, he didn't have some rocks and said, Jason, if you could get on that rock and be my eye in the sky, it'd be great.
Hey, one time I needed to go to town to buy an over-the-counter elk tag, okay? And I went and came back to my post, and Wyatt never knew I was gone.
Really?
Hey, I did spend the first day out in the cold. 90% of it, though.
He did.
Yeah.
I watched
Did
him.
you?
I glassed him.
Yeah, out
Oh, I
glassing,
came
so.
into town, and Wyatt told me where to go, and I glassed him out there on his perch.
Yeah.
Good.
Jason, he texts me. He says, as soon as I put this last chair away, I'm going to start driving from the wedding reception.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You married
it happened.
That's right. That
Yeah,
was
my kid got married, and then
the night before.
Yeah, that's right. The night before it started, and then I
That's
took off in
dedication
the
right
morning,
there.
and I rolled into town, and Wyatt had seen a great buck.
Yeah, we'd already turned up a good deer. I guess we can go into kind of the story.
Go
of that.
ahead.
Had turned up a pretty good deer. Had some cool extras right there, rutting does pretty hard. Figured he wouldn't go anywhere. So
Little did we know it was going to be the biggest buck that Gunnison had ever seen
I don't know that it was that big
for
but
the year.
It
He was a
such
local
tough hunt.
legend, huh?
Such a tough hunt in regards to the amount of trophy bucks available.
Yeah.
That it turned out it was a significant deer, right?
Yeah, we saw a lot of average quality type deer probably, but that next level type stuff was pretty hard to turn up. So anyways,
we saw a good number of 150, 160 bucks. Like there was a couple of bucks I was like, that's a nice buck.
Yeah.
You know? Just not the next level.
Yeah, just not that kind of next
180
level that we kind of hope for. But anyways, on that deer, we turned him up the night before the hunt. He was chasing does. Figured, hey, he'll be right there in the morning if we want to go back and look at him or we go back and kill him. So we go back the next morning, and that deer is nowhere to be found.
Right.
I spend all morning just glassing, staring into that country, tearing it apart.
Typical migration, walk and
Yeah.
look for does.
We'll start walking through that country, trying to figure it out, get to high points glassing. Actually, kind of a cool story is that morning, 2 4-points came in and kind of took over his does. So
You figured he's either off with one doe or maybe he left the whole country.
yeah, maybe he's gone, and these 2 4-points move in, take over the does. And anyways, towards later in the day, I'd kind of worked my way up to a very high elevation point and was glassing down into that valley and glass up another group of hunters or 2 hunters, putting a stock on one of those 4-points.
And I was across the way. I didn't get to see I didn't have them right under me like you did.
Yeah.
I was probably, 2 miles, Wyatt?
Yeah, you were a ways
looking at
away,
you
looking all
guys.
the way back across. Yeah.
And then seeing other hunters, if there were stacks of hunters, actually layers.
Yeah,
There
was no shortage of hunters in the area. But anyways, those 2 hunters got on that 4-point and got in there, and they got it killed. And before they made the final crest of the ridge, they dropped their backpacks and a bunch of gear there. So they shoot the buck, do a little celebration, and they go back to get their backpacks. And as they're going back to their backpacks, another buck gets up about 100 yards away. Actually,
Bigger buck.
Nicer 4-point gets up and walks over to the buck they had just killed and just starts beating the crap out of him.
Raking him.
just going to town, just fighting him like he's alive, but he's laying there dead. And I think the buck probably thought he killed the buck. I don't know.
Hey, he's bedded, and I just killed him.
Yeah, he gets up and
Mule deer are stupid.
yeah, he just starts attacking this deer. And anyways, those guys, they come back over the top of the ridge. And that deer is standing there over the top of their deer.
And you're thinking they're going to pound
yeah,
this
could be a disaster.
Like, I'm going to turn somebody in.
Hopefully they realize that's a different deer, and sure enough, they did realize that's a different deer, and they just keep walking, down to their down deer, and they get all the way to their down deer, and they are standing 10 feet from this deer, and it is still standing over their dead deer, just postured up. I can see them at that point take their cell phones out. There's somebody out there with some pretty cool footage of this because they take their cell phones out and they're filming this other deer
just
standing over their dead deer.
Jeez.
And eventually, it probably 15 minutes of them just kind of filming the deer face off kind of deal. And
throwing rocks maybe.
Yeah, the deer
Probably
finally.
whitetail hunters saying, "See, George, I told you these mule deer are stupid. The whitetail are amazing. These mule deer are stupid. These guys that kill big deer they think they really got something. Look at this."
Probably exactly what went down there. But anyway, so they finally push that deer off, but he doesn't leave. He goes like 20 yards and just starts trashing bushes. So these guys are taking kill photos of their deer, and we got some phone scope footage of this. They're taking kill photos of their deer, and this other deer is just standing there, just trashing.
Photo bombing.
Yeah,
photo bombing.
It's crazy.
Trashing bushes
It's
all the way around.
It's
these
pretty
guys.
awesome video.
Yeah, it was pretty wild deal, and then
They finished the whole butcher process, and he still hung around
Yeah,
right there.
so I had to actually go back by him to get out of there. So I'd walked off the high point, got back in the truck, went back by him, and if you look at our 2 different videos, it's like 2.5 hour difference. They're still quartering up that buck, and the live deer still just standing there walking around him.
It's probably like, come at me.
I wonder if after they left, they went up to the pile of carcass and still started goring that thing. It made you wonder.
Yeah, I wonder what went down there. I did look there the next day, and there was no
carcass.
no buck. He was no
the buck
longer
was
there.
gone.
Yeah, he wasn't standing
Similar
over
to the non-typical. He
the
moved
next
on.
day. Yeah, that non-typical, he ended up getting killed. We figured 7 miles away by the way the crow
You know
flies.
how we tease Wyatt about knowing everything? How does Wyatt end up with the kill photo of the buck we watched in a place we've never really been?
Just knew somebody over there in Gunnison, and they ended up firing me a photo. So
Wyatt,
How did that happen?
I just got sent the photo.
Of the buck you were
Yeah,
looking
of the
for?
buck
It
we were
just
looking for,
somehow
yeah.
happens.
Some kid holding it.
Not to
like,
me,
yeah,
man.
Sure.
But so you had to. So you found out that deer was dead, and then had to move on.
Yeah, then moved on, and as luck would have it, we were actually driving up to try another area, and a buck basically walked across the road in front of us, just in an area we could not hunt.
That was you and Sperry.
Yeah, me,
I'm off
me and
looking
Sperry.
I'm off looking at over-the-counter bulls.
Yeah, strolled across the road in front of us in an area we couldn't hunt. It actually walked by us at like 7 yards. Wasn't?
Jeez.
Well, you sent the picture I got. I could tell was not phone scope.
Yeah, that was straight out.
Straight camera, straight iPhone. Wyatt. Not a bad picture.
Yeah, straight out the truck window.
There was some heat waves from the heater inside the truck.
Yeah. And the heater didn't get turned off. I mean, the heater was on the whole entire hunt. So, I mean, it was cranked. But, yeah, we decided if we got a chance at that buck, we would hunt him. And with the migration and everything headed kind of south, we figured he might
He just
might
looks at you. That
work
sucker
that
just
way.
looks at you, you know.
Yeah, he had a really, really impressive head on, big old long G2s, tall, boxy buck. And like I said, we figured with the migration, he'd work his way through eventually. So we sat up on top of the ridge all that day and had another nice 4-point come out, but never had him come out. So
I was running, Wyatt's sitting up on post, and I'm running around the base in case he did move.
Yeah, there was only one other way. I figured he could have got by us, and Jason kind of had that covered, so we just kept working it, and then it got dark. So the next morning we decided to give it one more shot, just kind of a real quick morning look and see what was going to take place, and rolled out on the point and started glassing, and Jason rolled out on another point kind of a little bit to the south of us there and started glassing into a different canyon.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, there were some does without a buck, like it appeared anyway.
Pretty slow morning, but I've been sitting there about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and I glassed up a buck, bringing some does up over the top of the ridge. Smaller buck, probably the same 4-point from the day before. Brought him up over the ridge, and as he brought the does up over the ridge, he just locked up the brakes. The does continued on, and he just locked up the brakes. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. He's not going to follow his does down into this draw. Does come down into the draw, and they're just feeding around, working, and I've got to the point to where I'm glassing everything else. I'm glassing the neighboring unit. I'm glassing the Quakies behind me. I'm about done with it for the morning, just ready to about move on. And just look back at the does, and here comes the buck from yesterday, just bringing the does up the ridge to me. I was able to, slip down a couple, 50, 60 yards down off the edge and get a good rest and kill him.
In front of some other hunters?
Yeah, in front of some other hunters,
Meaning in front of them. If they looked over, they'd have seen you prone, laid out, but they didn't even know the deer was there.
They'd worked out on another knob there, but they ended up, if luck would have it, they were glassing the other direction. They probably would have saw the buck before me.
That's just Colorado.
probably
You're on
had the
top of each other.
Better angle.
And so many deer, it's just crazy.
So ended up taking a 270-yard shot and killing the buck right there. So Jason had kind of moved on and went and looked at some other bucks and had to call him to come back over there.
Wyatt called me. He goes, I killed him. I smoked him. I'm like, what?
Nice.
What?
I love those calls.
It was.
It was still in the heat of the moment. I had to run back to the truck. I'd left my cell phone in the truck, so I had to.
So he's
I've never seen Wyatt without
50
his phone
yards
in his life.
uphill.
Yeah, I had to run 50
I
yards
had
uphill.
called
Yeah.
you. I saw a nice buck. It was actually, what was I, probably, let's call it 3/4 of a mile aerial from you. By this point, I'm like, hey, you stay here. I'm going to go look for deer. Somebody's got to go look for deer because who knows where this buck is. And seen a couple of nice bucks. Anyway, and then Wyatt calls, and I'm like, no kidding. He's like, yeah.
Get up
That was
there.
your new rifle too, right?
Yeah, new rifle. We took an office vacation or
Was that
field
the
trip, I
6.5?
guess. Yeah.
Well, it was off, right? It
Huh?
was.
Yeah, I was shooting high just before, so I was going to take my other rifle.
And he's like, I'm going to take my other rifle. I said, Wyatt, get in the truck. Like, let's go truth this thing.
Those were freshly painted targets
Yes.
as well.
So-
Because
Well,
I
we
painted
had-
them that morning.
Yeah, but then
Well,
you didn't paint them after you got done. So we painted
No.
them when we got there.
I only shot like 5 times.
So we made a quick trip out there to paint the targets and shot, and it actually
And
shot
then we
really well.
adjusted
So
it.
I adjusted it and took it
Changed
out
the
there.
0, and it was sick.
Yeah.
I
Dead
mean, it
on.
was. He shot 840. It was sick.
When you get that, man, it's fun to go take the gun field. It's like, bring it on.
yeah.
That's exactly it. And then I had to dial all of 0.75 MOA to kill that buck. So
Yeah, so like that's one thing about the new age hunting. He's 270 yards. Kill it.
yeah.
Just kill it. But
Top
we don't
pin.
think that. We're like, oh, it's 223 yards. I
gotta
better dial. I better.
2 clicks.
I got a click here.
I'm going to give it
Click and a
a
half.
quarter MOA of windage.
People, I guarantee you, people have lost animals trying to figure out what to dial at 223 yards.
It's
When
kinda
it's sighted in,
It's kind of like when,
zeroed out
you're
at
bow
200.
hunting and a deer feeds out at 22 yards.
It's in your mind.
I got to
You
range
have
find that.
It's in your mind. I think it's good. It's intuitive, but it's just it
Kill
costs
it.
you time.
Tip
Just
top
kill
pin
it. It's 223 yards, 270 yards. Kill it. I mean, but anyway, good stuff.
That's
Good
awesome.
stuff.
Tough year overall.
I
in
spent
other
my-
neighboring units.
I spent money on an over-the-counter elk tag.
Well, why?
Well, I saw.
I mean,
I saw
decent bull.
yeah, I
Good
saw-
enough bull to go buy a tag.
Hey.
I don't know what that means, but
I saw a giant Bronson.
whoa, the G word got dropped.
I did see a giant. I told you.
I know. I'm just didn't know you're going to tell the whole world right
Well,
now.
I don't care. I don't care. It's over the counter. You're gonna go beat 100 and 200 people on the same hillside. Good,
What do
good
you mean?
luck.
That's conservative. Let's try 400 or 500. Because
So I go to Walmart. Don't ever go to Walmart to get your tag. But I go to Walmart and I'm like, hey, I'm going to get a tag because I could have killed this bull. And they don't. Their printer doesn't work. This guy doesn't know how to check me out. 14 layers, or he's not even a hunter, which is fine. But the system, I'm like, anyways, you got a tag in your account, but we can't print it, so you got to wait for tomorrow. This was.
evening.
Yeah, this
Or
was when the
midday.
Game and Fish wasn't even open.
Yeah, I was going to say
This
it's
is a
either Friday
weekend.
or Saturday. It'd have to be.
Saturday or Sunday,
Sunday.
one of them.
Yeah.
And they're not even open. Like, everything's locked down. And he's like, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow. I'm like, the bull's walking right now. What do you mean? I'm going to. Anyway, and it was the most frustrating situation ever. Didn't even buy it, right? He says it's in your account, but I can't do anything with it. You got to see Game and Fish. I'm like, you put up. You were gonna ring me up a quantity of one. Like ring me.
Did you
out,
think to
know?
go to another agent in town?
Oh, I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he says, go down to these other people. They know what they're doing, and
They could.
I'm like, okay. She goes, can't even see it. Like, I can't even see.
Okay, start over
So
and just sell
I
me
can
an elk tag.
no, can't do that because you have one.
What do you mean? It said you had one.
Yeah.
In your
You've
cart.
got one. You've got one. She goes, you've already hunted elk. I'm like, no, I haven't. She's like, I said, he says it's in there. He just couldn't print it and couldn't charge me for it and couldn't.
Consummate
And he
the
said
deal.
you could fix it. And she's like, I can't fix it. You
She's
gotta
like,
wait
I've
for
heard
Game
this
and Fish."
story before.
Which luckily, we smashed your buck, right? I
Yes.
think it was that next morning, which is great. It was the plan anyway.
But
And
then
I'm
you
like,
ran down.
but I'm like, yeah. So then I go into Game and Fish, and she goes, yeah, it just says here, didn't print. I'll just print it out for you, no problem. We can
She
just
hands you the tag.
She would have.
She did-
I
basically
said,
did,
does
and
it
then-
say that I paid for it? She goes, well, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I didn't.
So she was going to hand you the tag. You could have walked out, but of course you didn't do that because
Because I'm a good
it's
guy.
wrong and it's not
Right.
going to be good karma.
But having said that, that was a mistake. I shouldn't even have printed. I should have just drove home or helped John. Because have you ever went back and tried to find an over-the-counter bull that was on the run from somebody else chasing it?
Somebody else or a lot of somebody else.
you got.
I don't think they ever saw him. I don't think anybody ever saw him. But it was long-distance glassing, and most people are just kind of posted up, which sometimes you post up. Like Wyatt posted up. His buck never left this grove of trees. Like sometimes you do that, but anyway, you're one of the few guys glassing. And anyway, this bull's a giant freaking whale-tail. Giant whale-tail. Shoot him anywhere. Huge fours. Built, not broken. Like, shoot him anywhere, any tag. I was shocked. And then I've seen some over-the-counter bulls. Somewhat impressive, really. But I know.
What are you saying?
No,
Are you
I mean-
saying something about what you're going to do next year
No,
in Colorado?
No.
I
it's
almost
always an
thought you
option.
were going down
It's
that
always
road.
an option. But
I want to see that.
well,
He's going to buy one
hey.
in August.
hey, somebody paid $700, and I'm just saying it was a waste. I learned another lesson, just one of those knee-jerk things. If you have a tag, kill it. If you don't have a tag, don't go get a tag thinking you're going to go back and kill it, because it's not going to happen.
It's like,
I donated to Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Probably Parks is where the money went.
Yeah, you're probably that $700.
Probably went to the parks.
That $700
Probably went to
to buy
Wolf-
radio collar for wolves.
For the wolves.
Yeah.
We went to the wolf reintroduction. And it's just frustrating to me. So, anyway. Oh, it just is what it is. It was fun. And I think if you're elk or deer hunting in Colorado and you're in an over-the-counter,
You better have it to begin with.
You
or don't.
should. And I know it was just unusual year. There was the snow we talked about earlier, Bronson, and Wyatt, you saw it, and how the weather conditions were perfect, and it did. I talked to elk hunters. They're like, oh, normally we're up in the thick trees. You know, everybody's
Way
making
high.
elk drives. You know what I mean? Way high. And they were down low. A lot of them were down low, and people were seeing good elk numbers. And you know, there was some years that are just really tough elk years, and people are whining, and then there's some years it's stars align and things are good.
Let's talk to John about his.
Yeah,
John.
I had probably a similar experience as far as deer numbers. I've never seen so many deer. Just every draw you think, oh, maybe there's one group of does and there's 3. You know, just tons and tons, but lots of average bucks and, you know, just nothing on that next level. I did end up shooting a deer that was a good deer, had a 3.5-inch kicker on one side.
hey, cheaters get you killed.
I thought.
Was he looking away when you first saw him?
Well, I had to maneuver around some private and stuff, and as closest I could get was 600 yards, and then I'm like, I just look at him in my scope, you know?
Okay. He did that. That is awesome. He says, I'm just going to look at him with my scope, and I'm like, that's the
kiss of death.
cardinal sin.
I mean, I was down on, had him range.
John,
looked at him with my scope.
Was the wind 25 or 27 miles an hour?
One of those two. It was,
Or somewhere in
the
between.
wind was going like mad,
crosswind.
crosswind too, yeah, and colder than cold, so anyway.
Well, once you did that, if he did any kind of a lip curl action or nose in the air, I can tell you the powder was about to burn right there.
So
Hey, it warmed the barrel in negative 10-degree weather.
it did. And so, yeah, anyway. So I killed him, but it was a good buck. And I
John,
stayed another.
Are you really going to blow by the kill?
No, I was going to say, I don't know the story. So
I've never heard a kill story.
There was a pile of warm brass that found dirt through a foot of snow.
Did it melt? It melted a pile.
I've seen that happen before.
It's true. The wind was going like crazy, and I missed the first shot, and then I'm like, okay, I got to adjust. I aimed off the deer, you know,
In front
sideways
of his neck or his butt, whichever way.
to compensate for the wind. And I hit him on the second shot, and then it was just he was not going anywhere.
I would give money for the video. I would give money for this.
Is there
then-
video?
There's no video.
Oh, there it is.
That was
John will take
shut
it to
the
his
cameras
grave.
off.
John will take it to his grave.
But no, then yeah. So anyway, then
At the
I
end
get
of
up
the
there.
day, at the
there
end
were
of the
there
day.
were multiple holes in them.
Well,
so
good.
anyway, but it ended up being good. Yeah.
so some guys came up, and what the first thing they said is, "Did you get him?"
They came over to you.
No, I had to drive way around the kind of the ravine to get closer to him to go get him. And
Then
anyway,
they
I
had
parked
you.
next to another truck. And anyway,
They were looking for that
afterwards-
buck.
Were
Yeah,
they?
they were looking. They were like, "Oh, it's the one with the kicker on it," and I was like, "Yeah, that was it."
Stickers is dead.
Stickers is dead.
So anyway,
You know, John, did you at least give him a tenderloin?
no, I didn't give
I'd
him
have given him a
tenderloin.
front shoulder.
I did. I did. They asked if they could see the buck, and I let them see it. So I thought that was pretty good.
Good.
Where did the rounds end up hitting the
5x4.
Yeah, we're not going to talk.
I mean, he was dead, right?
Yeah, he was dead. So I hit him in the spine, and so
The first shot.
the first shot, and he wasn't going anywhere, but he was
Thrashing
half
and all
up.
that.
Yeah. So then I just let it fly, and
The last time you hit a
Yeah.
deer in the spine in Colorado, he walked away.
yeah, he walked away. So
Wow.
I just like keep shooting until I can see him laying there.
Crease the spine versus
It did. It did not
versus
hurt
him.
rupture.
It didn't hurt him, but it kind of
Shocked
knocked him
him.
down, and we're like, "Oh, good shot!
Oh,
you
he's
killed
dead.
him, done."
Yeah.
We went over there, and there was just little drops of blood.
Yeah, he may or may not have had a hole or two in his head.
I just-
So Yeah.
Who? Which one?
This last one.
Oh, I was talking
What?
about the buck over in 18.
Yeah, I just kept shooting until
Okay.
it was just.
Jeez, John, I wasn't even making you go down that road. I was talking about another buck.
Yeah, I hit him 4
Jeez,
times.
What number are we at?
It's kind of like those
we might
state,
have-
kind of like
that
those
out.
State Farm commercials when they reveal too much
You
information.
blew his brains out? That is a kill. That is deadly.
Yeah.
That's
but
a clean kill.
anyway. Yeah, he didn't move. He
No.
was done.
That is a kill shot.
Well, good.
Bronson?
Cool buck. Awesome. 3-inch cheater.
Yeah, 3.5. It was good. It was good.
3.5.
Yeah, you
cool
can-
buck. 5 before with eye guards.
Yeah, with eye guards, good eye guards, but yeah, and then same thing. I scouted for the next 2 days, and
For fun.
he was about the best buck. There's maybe
Yeah.
1 or 2 that were in the same kind of ballpark.
All I know
but,
is there's so many bucks and there's so many deer for how many tags they give.
yeah,
Like how if they have good warm weather conditions throughout the winter, how can it not get better?
yeah.
And Bronson, that's what you saw in the same unit John was in when you were there.
Yeah, but
You
it
know?
feels like it hasn't.
It hasn't got better.
Yeah.
I know, but how?
Like a lot of these units feels like, next year, 2 years is going to be good if we just have mild winters. Feels like we've been saying that for
yeah,
4 or 5 years.
and the winters have been nothing but mild.
That last morning, I think I counted like 43 bucks, not
Wow.
counting like
Isn't that
the
insane?
spikes
It's
and the
insane.
the little 2
And
points.
that's till noon. We said
yeah,
morning.
Yeah, till noon. Yeah.
That didn't
So-
happen to me on a second season hunt, or when I went over with my son. I mean, it was tougher where I was at.
Yeah, it was tough.
We'd see 10 to 14 maybe.
Yeah,
But I
Which
think
is-
if you're burning, let's say you have to burn 12 or 13 points, and you go to this unit that's supposed to be Shangri-La,
Well,
it's still it's not like
you're
there's a big
expecting
buck around
180
every
bucks
yeah.
out of a truck
No.
is what unfortunately a lot of people expect, and whether it be out of a truck or a multiple bucks to pass, and finally you shoot in 180 buck on the last home because last day home. That doesn't happen.
but John, I don't know if you saw 180, did you?
No.
And I think
No.
that's the point of all of this. Devin, I mean, did you see a 180?
No.
And I think, and when I was there, it was just like, man, this is a really tough year. The end results in some cases were good, but it's just even Wyatt and I, it was a tough year where we were at, and a lot of good hunters, people know what they're doing, and I think that's another problem. You've got guys that are not killing early; they are waiting to the end. They are knowing what they're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, a pile of points, especially in third seasons, most units take a lot more than second, so they want to hunt to the bitter end, try to get what they feel's worth out of what they spent in points.
Yeah.
That's how
So
most
Bronson
people
or Devin, which one of you guys is next?
do it.
I
Devin
don't-
kind of just went.
Yeah. I told my
he just
story.
said no a minute ago.
Well, okay, there now.
But-
That's
but-
what
Keep
but-
going down the
now let
list,
me-
and
hold
I'll
on,
keep
hold on.
answering.
Hold on, to be a good
But I-
host,
but I
we've
did-
got to bring out the truth.
But I did talk to. Yeah, you had a.
There was some new
Interesting.
tires bought,
Well, that was.
and
that
then
was,
a tire got, and then you went through a tire ride.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I bought 2 new tires. They maybe had 50 miles on them, and
Oh, for the Pioneer.
yeah, it's
That
dead
was
in my
in the
backyard
Nevada.
again.
That was the.
Did you run over a stick? I didn't hear how.
I have
it
no
happened.
idea. It had to have been a rock. And I didn't run. I don't run a lot of air in them. You don't want to.
Right.
So I'm just like, how does this?
Got the
Rip.
sidewalls. They probably
Cold.
spongy
Cold.
sidewalls hanging out. the
This was
side.
right in the center,
Oh, it was.
right between the tread.
Tread?
Brand new tread that deep. I have no
Wow.
idea. I'm going up this hill. It's a perfect morning, and I'm like, my steering wheel's going this way, and it was weird. I'm like, something
Yeah,
ain't
out
right.
of
I jump
alignment.
out, and it's just
On a
put air in
rim.
it, and I could hear it just.
Can't even air it up.
You're in
No.
one of my favorite units, and just it just and there wasn't a big buck killed in the unit that we know of. Like it was just a tough year, right? Saw plenty of bucks.
You guys talk about nice bucks. Like when I saw nice buck,
It
it
was-
had a 3 on one side.
I mean, I don't know, Devin. Why?
No,
why
I
are you
little
so
for it.
picky?
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you what happened. And
Bronson,
it,
One day, didn't you tell me one morning that I called you when I came home, or you called me?
I called you. Oh yeah,
And I
that
think
was
it
an
I
afternoon.
think it was just a. I don't know why.
That was a nice
I
3-pointer.
Well, I think
hung up
Devin-
from these guys, and I said, "Hey, Devin just needed a friend."
so
I just
Devin,
needed some. I've been alone for 4 days.
Devin got a pep talk from Josh. He got a pep talk from me. He got a pep talk from you.
Did he?
I know- Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, all right.
Oh,
It was
dude,
my
You
turn.
guys kept me going, man.
That's what friends do.
Well,
I mean,
While
I would
he's watching
see like
Cops, I'm
But didn't
giving him
you
a pep talk.
But that day, didn't you tell me you saw like 300 deer? That
it
day?
was a lot,
yeah.
that day-
a lot of deer.
and that was considering I was on
Does and
BLM,
farm.
a lot of does, and then I went by some private, and I counted those.
Yeah.
That's how many. And I mean, the best buck I saw was a 3x4,
21 inches.
20-incher. He was like 3 years old. It was one of the older deer I've seen, maybe.
Yeah.
I think
Deer that
But there
you wouldn't
was-
even think about, like,
you didn't go to Colorado for that.
No.
yeah.
And nor would I. And if you told me, and Bronson and Ty were there earlier on second, and they didn't see a big shooter buck, and if you would tell me, hey, we didn't even see a respectable deer, I'd be like,
Where'd you
what
hunt?
were you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just those kind of years. Some years you can't make
And there
it
was
happen.
some areas, and we're hunting hard, and I had my dad and brothers. My brothers were looking for the first couple days, and same thing. They're just like, oh, we just saw bucks. We wouldn't even. I was just, you film them? They're like, you're not going to want to see it, But I'm talking hiking, mile or two into somewhere there's no roads, and
picked
getting into
up.
does, getting picked up, and just 2-point rutting like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
You even felt like 2 points were breeding, right?
I saw a fawn.
A what?
A button
I
buck.
saw a button buck. He had
Come
one button that was actually like
Come on.
antler. The other one was fur. There was no antler. But he was
And he was-
puffered up.
he
He
was-
was.
he
I
was
swear,
stalk-
I've
he
never
was-
seen anything
He
like
was
it.
stalking
Do
his
you
mom.
think it was a yearling or a fawn?
100% a fawn. Like, well, he had a horn. He had a little
And he's feeling it.
piece of antler like
You don't
that.
think
like
he
a
was a
button
year and
buck?
a half? You think
No.
he was a 6-month-old?
He was an early born buck.
If Dad's not here to do it, I'm gonna man
I
up.
should have
I
filmed
don't
it.
think that's possible.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm telling you, dude, he was big, like for a fawn.
Well, he's probably just how they puff up their.
He was.
hide.
He was just. I mean, I don't know.
He's gonna take.
I
care of
should have
business.
filmed it, but it was rough. And hunts like that, like I kind of had 2 in a row, but one day I found a big one, and
then
that's all it
about 'em.
takes. So you just
Yeah.
keep going, but
The
it
difference
hurts your
between
confidence,
the-
man. I
Yeah.
mean, you're out there,
Right.
and I'm happy for all you guys, but I'm talking to you, and you're like, yeah, we saw this buck and this buck, and I'm like, I saw a 3-point,
Devin, think about my confidence. If you want to make yourself feel better, been a long old go. All right, Bronson.
Well, I knew because I had a couple real quick, hard hitting, good days, and of course we have a text log and we shared some pictures. I knew they were going to be received mixed. I mean,
What do you mean? Like salt in the wound?
kind of. I
Like,
mean,
Hey
what
guys,
are you going to
hey
do?
guys, I'm
not.
having a good hunt.
I'm
Here's
not
a
going
big
to.
buck.
I'm
Here's
not
a
going
big-
to. I'm not going to hold out
I
on you
wish
for
this one
3
had a
days.
little longer G1.
But anyway, it was my turn today. I get this year. It was good. So yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
I'm
anyway.
hunting for one day, and Adam shows us 2 giant bucks dead, and then Wyatt sends a
I know.
big buck, and you're
and then
like-
I'm driving home, and I stayed for 3 days after that because Aaron decided, well, I'll come down then if it's going to be that good. And I said, well, you better get here. We don't have anything to do.
Yes.
But
Get here
and
now.
3 days later, he's like, all right, I'm going home. So we went home.
And I'm just jealous y'all got tags.
Yeah. But, so
I do think we could talk about, like, when we're there, we're just hearing a lot of feedback from
John,
people.
I got a guy emailing me, and then he meets me. We go to the motel,
you got
and he
notes
comes
under
out
the
and
windshield.
meets me.
Don't
And
you
I've
have notes under the windshield
well,
wiper?
we got a note for Wyatt. He wanted to talk to Wyatt, me and you. Just and guys are. I mean, the guys that are struggling, whatever, not finding the kind of bucks they're wanting to find in other units, neighboring units to us.
They expect you to have the answer.
Well, I mean, they don't expect it. They just want to hear something positive. Like, if you got a place I could check or whatever.
Pep talk a little
Yeah.
bit. That'll,
And it's hard to pep talk guys. They're going the exact places I would go to. Like, I don't know what else to say. It was just a really hard year. Last year, the same unit, there was a dozen that were 195 to 2 whatever taken in all the seasons combined, not just one season, but I mean all the seasons combined in one particular unit. And this year I can't think of one. And it was just that kind of year, it seemed like, in a lot of places. So, Bronson, keep on going.
well, yeah. So this year, find a landowner tag. That's I burned my points a couple years ago. So I mean, I had to get a landowner tag.
Yeah.
And but it's hard to find multiples in one unit so you can hunt together. It's very hard in most units in Colorado. So I found one, and then decided, well, if we can find something either in that unit or neighboring unit, at least me, Dad, my brother can go hunt together. So that was kind of our plan, and that's how it worked out. So I had 2 tags in their unit and one where I had mine. And Aaron wasn't going to come down for a couple of days, just, let the rut build. And one of the units is, more lightly hunted, and the other one is crushed, with a lot of tags. So the one with a lot of tags, generally, Aaron hunted it last year and just hunted like the last 4 or 5 days because that's the deeper into the rut. Let something stupid happen, maybe as the rut builds. Well, so we'd lined out my dad with points and all that, and this is where to go to sit. And he got down there. I got down a couple days early to start looking over my unit, and I actually threw, some cameras around and, didn't really bear anything out because it was, the water was not an issue this year, and that's really the only thing you might do. But in prior years, you can hit some of that lower wind range country and some transition country, and they're hitting water. But anyway, long story short, Dad didn't see any deer that day before, and I'd seen a couple of really nice deer, but nothing I was going to shoot. And so here comes opening day. He's going to go back to the area, and he's pretty patient. He can sit, he can sit a long time. I mean, literally all day. Well, I get a text about 4:30 that afternoon on opening day. Hey, I got one. I need some help. And 4:30 is prime time because it's dark in about 45 minutes or an hour. This with the daylight savings. And, we're in reach. I barely have cell service, so not coming back. So I'm getting some in reach and some texts and trying to, was he dead? Well, he said what you did. He went right down. He spined. I can't see him right now, but I know he's not getting away. And I said, okay, I'm gonna stick it out here then. It's not like, he had to drive around to get off some country to get down and get a truck closer to the deer. So I said, well, I'll just meet you down there. So anyway, in that back and forth time, I glassed up a really, really good deer. And so if I would have just taken off right then and left the 45 minutes, I wouldn't have glassed the deer that I ended up killing the next day. That was kind of interesting.
You're saying it was heaven sent?
I'm just saying.
Or good luck.
Milk the last 45 minutes of life. I mean, it's prime time. I mean, I'd been there for 2 hours. And
it was awesome.
And
it turned out perfect because he ends up and you end up both being successful.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
He ended up, once I knew that he really didn't need help. He just needed help when going to get the deer. It's not like he's trying to track one before dark. I couldn't have got there before dark.
But it's hard
anyway.
with the delay on inReach. It's just hard.
I couldn't have got there before dark. It was an hour drive or more for me to get to where he was. So once I understood all that, I just said, hey, just wait. I'll meet you at this point after dark. I'd seen 3 or 4 doors coming out of some trees and looked over there. There's this big, framey, long-time deer just rutting it. And I'm like,
that's what I come to Colorado for.
Yeah, and I'm 1,500 plus yards. There's nothing I can do that night other than I'm watching him till dark, and he feeds up an over ridge into kind of some live trees, and I'm like, all right, well, at least I have a deer to hunt. That's all. I have a deer to hunt. And I got 6 more days, so we get off the mountain, and my dad, he's not hunted Colorado for quite a while, and he's used to hunt with a bow more than anything. Yeah, he had some shoulder problems and all that, so he's kind of reverting to the gun more. And I didn't even know what he'd shot. So I get down to him, we meet him. So we're driving up into this road up to where his buck's at. He's not even been to it yet because he had to drive off the backside to meet me, and then we're going to drive up to it. And I'm like, well, it's a good buck for me. It's not nothing you guys would be that excited about. It's a good buck for me. We pull up there and get out, and I'm like, what the? I says, what do you mean? I'd have shot this thing anywhere this morning at freaking 5 minutes after daylight. It's a 30 1/4 inch 6x5.
Well, Adam, back when I was a kid, we had these kind of bucks everywhere.
Well, partially
good grief.
Partially that, but I mean, he hasn't shot one of those for a long time. But in his defense, he saw it and he was really excited because it's a big, heavy buck. It broke an eye guard off, but it's a great buck, heavy and old. And anyway, we take care of it all, take some pictures, and get it off the mountain. As we're doing that, I said, well, I found a really good deer right after I got your text within 15, 20 minutes. So, yeah, I need you in the morning.
But I want you to talk about his shooting system.
Well, so it turns out.
Hey, that's what a good host does. He brings out all the good details.
Well, part of it turns out he knows I'm doing my thing, and he's on another unit. Yes. And he's, I guess, just thinking respectful. He saw that deer at like 10:30, 11 in the morning. Yeah. And never even inReached me, texted me. I would have been over there that night to make sure we killed it. He videoed it all. The buck, just frolicking with does.
How far?
600, 500,
500 or 600, too far for him
a real
to shoot.
Angle.
too far for him to shoot. He's got a reticle system. He's not got a dial turret, so he's ground truthed it.
But he's ground truth. Like, you know how we're using the electronics. And it works.
He's taken it out. It comes with a tick marks down there. It's a vortex
Kinda
scope
like
with
a
300, 400, 500, 600.
In my
but
mind,
every
I'm
gun
thinking
doesn't
like
match
like some of those scopes come with, like, if you put this on a 223 or whatever, this is where they come in at roughly.
Yeah.
Depending on the
But
ammo.
it's a big game rifle, so you've got to ground treat your gun, because this crosshair that says roughly 400 might be 425, might be 450, might be 375, depending on caliber and all that. But he's done all
And
that,
a cheat
so he
sheet.
knew. And he has it taped to his tie, and it's good.
But a non-angle rangefinder, right? Non-angle rangefinder, just the straight-up rangefinder. So just awesome, because
so he hit a
he's
little
old
too
school, but he knows what he's got.
Yeah.
Like, you're not changing that system.
And he crushed it twice, right in the spine, right. Hit it high both times. I mean,
just hammered it.
Oh, both. Dropped like a ton of crap, and then hit it again, and then it just thrashed out of sight. And he says, I can see parts of it, but I think it's dead there, but it's not getting up. I'm telling you, I know where I hit it. But yeah, it didn't tell me all day long, and I guess very well, if he would have, I would have been over there that night to either help him get set up or maybe even use my gun or something like that. Because if I knew that deer was there, I would have been over there that night to make sure he killed that deer. But hey, didn't need it. So that evening it feeds out at about 3:30 and just gets closer and closer to it's like 460 yards, and he smokes it.
That's awesome.
Anyway, it was pretty fun.
But that's
it was fun for him.
patience, you know.
Oh yeah.
The rest of us are thinking this deer's going to move on. I bet I only have right now to kill it.
He had a few does, but anyway, and he'd been there the whole day before, not seen that group of does or buck or anything. The same exact spot. So anyway, really fun night. Get him back kind of on the board, so to speak. So yeah, fast forward to the next morning, we get up there and drive into my unit, and it's getting light, and I can see does exactly where I left that buck, and I'm like, okay, there's 3 or 4 does, and I can see as it's getting light. It's 1,500 yards. I can see straight neck bucks pushing them, but I can't. I'm not even gonna put my spotting scope on because
there's rutting happening.
Yeah, with my 12s, I can see that, but I know I'm gonna see less light with my scope, so I'm just letting it get light. But I'm like, he's right there. It's like, oh my god, and then it gets light, and he's not there. It's like 3 or 4 does and a couple dink 4s and 22-inch 4s and a couple dink bucks, and they're just ringing around the rosies, and they're all doing their thing, raking brush, like Wyatt's talking about. And I'm like, where is this thing out? And pretty soon I'm realizing, like you said, Wyatt, the other, but this deer, he either has one doe somewhere, or he's left this group
and moved on
and moved to something else. And what direction's that? So, but I'm going to sit there all day long because it's the last place I saw him, 12 or whatever hours ago, 15, whatever it's been. So, but, now we got 2 of us there, and like, you can stare at that area and you're not going to miss it, so we're looking everywhere else. And I'd seen some other deer in the area. I'd been there, the night before, of course, I'd seen some other deer there, and there's a mature buck with another group of 6 or 8 and 7 does, whatever. And probably an hour and a half after light, I looked over there for probably the 3rd or 4th time. I finally saw some deer over there. Oh, that's them. I wonder if that's them. And when I glassed out, I see a buck from the side working through this burn, and I'm like, that looks like a big buck.
Pretty big tangs over there.
But you guys have all done this. When you're looking for a buck, you're wanting it to be something different than the buck was there the night before. But when you put your scope on, you're like, yeah, that's the buck from last night, and you just got excited. How many times? But I put my scope on and about crap, because this is about 1,500 yards away. And
not only is it 500 I'm looking for, but it's as big as I thought it was.
Yeah, now the sun's on it. It's not getting dark. He's big. He's rutting. And I get my dad on. I said, you're going to want to get this in your scope fast, because I says he's way more killable in the location where he's at today than where he was last night. And he's got 8 or 9 does that are new to him, because he was up here last night. So sometime in the night. So, usually if they do that, they hang around for a better part of half a day or 2. Who knows, sometime before they just keep bouncing around. Well, anyway, watched them and go out of sight and do a back draw, and we can't see him. But luckily, I have my dad to stay there and watch. So I gathered my stuff, went down, had to go past my truck, so I got rid of. I left my spot and scope. I left some stuff like that. Then I'm like, well, I don't need this. Where I'm going, I'm going to be within 1,000 yards, and I can, all I need is my 12s. I'm lighting it. I'm going into kill. I left some little bit of other stuff. So I looped way over and got up on top, and as I'm climbing up, it probably took me an hour to get over on this ridge and look down. Now they're trotting out into this burn. I just thought I'd have to spend all day there, looking needle in a haystack trying to find him. And no, he had him up rutting again, and or a doe was leading him out into this big burn. And the burn's giant. It's not like it's some postage huge stamp. It's like giant gargantuan, So, but anyway, they got out there and kept getting further and further away, and it was like you, but I had a headwind. Right into my face.
So it's not going to affect your bullet.
I don't think so. I'm sure somebody can tell me the exact what you do for that. But anyway, but he's getting further and further and further away, and so he's actually getting closer to my dad, or equal distance. And so I'm starting to think, geez, do I climb off of here and get clear back over there where he's at? Is that what's going to happen here? But by then they all ended up bedding down, and when they stood up, they actually started. This is just cold, like we all been talking. It's a nice thing about being cold. When it's warm, those deer are laying down for 4 to 5 hours. Yeah. When it's warm, I mean. When it's cold, man, they're on their feet. They're just restless a little bit. Body temperature, or want to get it going, or feel the sun, or just the rut, or there's green sheet grass. There's just it's a lot going on. Anyway, long story short, they closed the distance back to under 600, 550 yards. Laid down again, and I'm like, all right, I'm in a position now. When they did that, it's just thicker. I could not get a shot, and the buck went down quick. We bedded quick. So anyway, I only had to sit there for another probably 45 minutes or an hour. He had him up again, rutting again, and arranged this opening. It was dead on 600, like 599, 601, 600. I mean, I was confident because I was hitting the ground and not limbs of trees, and that's hard glass, and they're ranging into a burn. He got into that thing and just stopped broadside and just hammered him. One shot, put him down right there. It was awesome. And then, I don't know. It was kind of surreal because, from 4:30 that night to I think that was 10:30, 11 the next day, we had two big deer down. It felt like, holy
Well, and that's
cow.
a classic
Pretty
example.
awesome.
It wasn't like you saw tons of big bucks. It was just one buck made the whole hunt.
Just like kind of like what Devin had in Nevada. I had high anticipation going to Colorado because the weather and all that, and you always do when you're hunting the rut. But I've hunted so many times in Colorado and ate my tag and hunt to the end of the hunt, and I was fully prepared to do that. And this time, it all went well. It was just luck plays into it. You get out there, you hunt hard, you glass hard, have good equipment, all that. But to have 2 deer like that happen in 16 hours, just good fortune. You get lucky sometimes, and hey, that's why we like to go to Colorado. That can happen that way.
Well, and that's the one thing that keeps resonating is you guys are hunting bucks, and I'm hunting bucks generally, that you scout all summer for here around your house. You killed a buck that you would scout all summer for, and then when you finally kill it a month later, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Or you can go do it in a couple of days.
Well, it's like the Ponsagon buck that my son shot. I mean, those are deer that we spend all summer trying to keep track of and all that. But we can't do it that. Maybe Utah, Nevada, because we live real close to Nevada in this part of Nevada.
But you're not
down
going
here.
to scout the rut.
But you can't hunt. You can't scout. And these deer are going to move. And so we talk about it often. I did hunt muzzleloader last year, but we mostly show up and hunt rifle hunts in Colorado. And that's what can happen if you just go show up and hunt.
Pretty awesome.
So, anyway.
All this talk of cold weather reminds me of Kinnetrek. They've got some pack boots. They sell grizzly pack boots up there and have a lot of different boots from hot weather type boots all the way through the winter. They're awesome. Great products. Check them out, www.kinnetrek.com, KENETREK.com, or call 1-800-232-6064. Jim Windham, good dude, great hunter, owns that company, headed it up, makes great products, good friend of ours, and anyway, just does a great job up there with his business. So anyway, show him a little love. If you're looking for any boots, Kinnetrek.
One thing I might mention about them is they've got a great selection of women's boots too. So we've talked about taking our wives or kids into the field, daughters. Check them out for good boots. Nothing worse than having bad boots on your wife. And
might suggest that to Jeff. For a Christmas gift.
Wonder if she had hand-me-downs and she threw 3 pairs of his wool
usually
socks
women
on.
get tired of dish towels and stuff, so I think a pair of boots would be awesome.
Yeah, yep. So and they've got really good ones. My mom bought a pair from him.
Did she?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Up at the show.
Yeah, really, really awesome. Okay, let's give a shout out to Triple S Polaris. It's located here in Cedar City, but they do ship nationwide, and they'll deliver. They specialize in setting up hunting rigs and performance machines. So, you're not just buying bone stock. He knows what to do to it for what you want for hunting purposes. Colton over there is a hunter himself, so give him a call.
They're big into tracked machines too for the winter, and we were just talking about that. Like if you're looking for doing some winter wolf, coyote, or late season elk or deer or whatever, I mean they promote that. They know what they're doing with tracked machines, whether it's tracked four wheelers, tracked side by sides, whatever. So
yeah, give them a call 435-865-0100.
So, also want to give one more shout out. I got an email over sometime in the last 2 weeks as I get. Looks like registration, all that's open for the Western Hunting Conservation Expo. You guys might have all seen that. And it never fails. Some of the better, closer hotels fill up a lot quicker than you'd anticipate. You can't wait till the last minute. So if you're wanting to go February 2nd to the 5th. Huh?
I heard a lot of the motels are
already.
Full. Yeah. It's going to be a big show.
Well, they've expanded it. I don't remember how many booths, but a bunch, and it has been happening that pretty much every year. But this year it's going to be a little bit earlier. We've joked and said you're going to have to take your wife on a real Valentine's date this year, because this year at the expo it's February 2nd to the 5th, and then you're going to be home, and you're going to have to really take care of her in a real proper way instead of just, hey, come to a hunt show with me this year, honey.
There's a concert.
There's a concert. Yeah, it's a dinner. But anyway, we'll be there as always. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we get closer about maybe some deals, and obviously we got optics there now. But go to huntexpo.com if you want to get registered, buy your tickets. I'm not sure if the $5 hunt thing's open yet, Wyatt, if you've looked there.
I don't
but
believe
usually it's like towards the end of the year, December. But anyway, you can have a bunch of hunts at huntexpo.com. Those $5 raffle tags or whatever we want to call them.
Wyatt.
Huh? Well, just because Wyatt usually
He's the
knows.
tag junkie. Dude.
I mean, he's my source of all
it's
knowledge.
his job to know.
Yeah. So anyway, I looked to him because he might have just given me a nod, but I don't think it's open yet. But anyway, you do have to be present to validate that. So you can buy your entries online to save that, but you do have to validate those in person when you go there. But hey, we know my brother did one of those last year. We know people that win them every year. So kind of an extra tag you can get before the Utah draw even kicks off this year.
My son grabbed an antelope tag one year.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is. It's
exactly.
Another opportunity.
So go to huntexpo.com, get your registration, your tickets bought to the venues, because those nights fill up too, especially Friday, Saturday night. Those tickets, they fill up too. Be a great event. Always is. February 2nd to the 5th, 2023.
Right on. Well, let's talk about ourselves.
Haven't we done that for about an hour and a half? I mean, what are you talking about?
Nauseum.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think it's time to start thinking about license application. Wyatt, we can talk about that a little bit. I think we've got a lot of people that are looking to have us file their applications for them. Of course, they're in charge of as much as they want to be, or they want us just to do it, kind of give us their credentials and what it is that they want and some of their goals, short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. And we're very aggressive in that. Of course, we also have the regular publication and membership you can be a part of that basically just talks about all the draws in different states and whatnot, and big game species, and they can apply themselves. And so anyway, that's what we do here at Epic Outdoors. That's why we do these podcasts, is because this is what we do for a living. Talk about hunting, deal with hunters, help hunters, have a membership-based service that we help guys all the time. Wyatt, maybe you want to talk just a little bit more about license apps.
So our license application, we like to keep it more personable. We like to be able one-on-one with the clients, actually go through and create a hunting goal, hunting strategy. So we're going to look at your applications in, like Jason said, the short, mid, and long-term goals. The short terms might be a few of these states that we can keep you hunting in, and while we're waiting for a few of these longer terms, your long-term goals, your true trophy states, your Arizonas, Utahs, Nevadas to hit, maybe a tag of a lifetime, but we're going to keep you hunting. We like to evaluate these goals with you every year, be as personal or multiple times a year. You can call in as much as you want and go through the strategy, and we can kind of explain what we're doing or why we've went this route in those states with your applications. I'm all over the place with it.
It's awesome. So we're $50 a state. That's for one species. If it's 2 or more, it's $100 with a $750 cap. And so you can do all the western states and all species. And the most you could spend with us on regular state applications is $750 a year. And then, of course, you're responsible for your own tags, and you'll get your own refunds and whatnot. And if you wanted to hire an outfitter, why, you sure can. You can find your own. We can help you with that. We work with the best outfitters here in the West. We've been doing this for decades. And so, you know, I definitely want you to call us and visit with us about it if you're looking to choose an outfitter, and but you're by no means forced to go with somebody that we work with, or you don't even have to go guided at all. The tag's yours. You get to choose how to make the most of it. So we're here to help guys with that, and that's what we do. Anything else?
Yeah, and just want to reiterate that if you're one of those guys that's got plenty of time and likes to be involved and do your own applications, but you've listened to the podcast and have never joined, encourage you to maybe do that. I can pretty much promise you there'll be something that we cover, because we don't write the magazine ahead of time and just rubber stamp it from year to year to year. There's tight deadlines that we got to go to print literally within days of after these regs being released. And so you'll learn something, or you'll hear something, or read something in the magazine, in our take on the states that makes you probably think about something different. Maybe it just simply saves you money from applying aimlessly, or maybe a little bit, you know, for a state that maybe there's no hope in, or something like that. You'll learn something. You get your money's worth. I can guarantee that. There's always the ability. You get the magazine, you get the information in it, the statistics, the in-depth research, and then the ability to call in and talk with us throughout your own application year. You know, hey, I've got 10 points in Colorado deer. Heard you guys talk about that. What should I burn? Sounds like it's, you know, nothing's a slam dunk. I'm ready to use them. Or the next state, or the next state. So we're here to do that. That's involved in the membership. We encourage you to use it and encourage you to become a member. And we got a membership drive going right now. We'll get entries in for that. If you join right now, if you haven't done that in the past, or if you want to buy a gift membership for somebody going into the holidays or things like that, keep that in mind.
Sounds good. For more information, go to epicoutdoors.com. Of course, there are some 40% off coupons, so you can go right on their front homepage. There's 40% off on anything on UA.com. So, again, for the holidays, another way you can kind of save some money. Epicoutdoors.com. Of course, we explain our business and everything we got going on there. Appreciate y'all. Hope everybody had a great season. Send in your photos at epicoutdoors.com. Photos and stories. We want to see them. We want to showcase them in the publication. We appreciate you again.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Holidays, everybody.